thank you so much for being here today. It really means a lot. And I just want to thank everybody who's been involved in this project, from the advisors to the board members to conversations that I've had at length with people locally over the phone, reconnecting with old friends and classmates. It's really made a huge difference in having this come together. And I couldn't have done it without all of your help and support. So I'm going to share the PowerPoint presentation and walk you through it. Can you guys see it? Let's see.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay. So the Serious Type is a 501c3 nonprofit, and our motto is uplifting a mighty generation through self-expression. What is the Serious Type? Just as a review for all of you, if most of you know about this, but for those that don't, the Serious Type is a curated online platform for youth ages 13 to 23 who are serious about their lives. And it has a mission of empowering, equipping youth to create a happier, healthier, and more sustainable world. And it's also a publishing forum where you can share all forms of art, academic musings, and connect with each other for the purpose of turning expression and information into action. And it's also a space for educators to share their work in order to provide writing prompts and ongoing studies for other educators and self-motivated curious students, especially for homeschooled children. We found that that's really, this is a really great outlet for kids who are learning at home, either on their own or with family members. So I'm going to pass this next part off to Serena. I'm just going to say a little bit about Serena. So we connected because she is at Cornell University currently. She's going to start her sophomore year next year. And I was on this entrepreneurial startup tree website and put the Serious Type out there looking for interns. And she and another woman named Nicole responded, and it was really exciting to connect with both of them. And Serena has hung on for the entire summer and done amazing work and really kind of shown up when I needed her to show up to provide inspiration and motivation, and just to confirm that the Serious Type is really something that young people are looking for. And she's really helped me to think about what are the steps that we need to take now that the tool has been developed. What are the things that we need to do to get it out to the younger people to make sure that they're actually using it in the most optimal way possible. So I'm going to pass it on to Serena, and she's going to tell you what she's worked on this summer and what the Serious Type means to her. Hi, Serena. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Nikki, for the wonderful introduction. So if you go on to the next slide, so it's so great to be here with everyone today. On the next couple of slides, I'm going to be showing you some of the content that has been published not only on the Serious Type website, but also the Instagram over the past couple of months. And during this time, while we walk through some of the content, I will also be telling you a bit more about some of my experiences working in the Serious Type. So as Nikki mentioned, I was originally drawn to the Serious Type through a entrepreneurial startup tree that Cornell released. And I was looking for an internship that would be very impactful, not only on myself, but also on the world around us as a whole. So I wanted to be part of something that could truly be beneficial to people my age, something that is very inspiring and encouraging, especially during a time where it may be difficult to feel this way all the time. So for me, the Serious Type stood out as a place where I could really make my summer fulfilling and meaningful. So that's why I originally reached out to Nikki saying I was interested. And after I met with her, I knew that I wanted to engage in something like this, especially with the mentor who is also very encouraging and passionate about this. So if we go on to the next slide. So here are two examples of the graphics that I made for the Serious Type. These are currently posted on the Instagram if any of you follow it. So it was just really great to be able to design these kind of infographics online to match some of the content that has already been published. So if we go through the slides, we can see a bit more of the other content that has been posted. So next slide. So the one on the left is something that I designed for the series type, and the one on the right is a piece of artwork that, that accompanied something that was published on the series type. So continue, next slide. This is a piece of artwork that was submitted. Next slide as well. And this is like another version of the same, of the message that was in the previous slide. And then the next slide, please. So here we have some artwork that was submitted by the series types. The one on the left is a drawing, and then the one on the right is a photograph, of course. So I guess this leads me into one of my favorite pieces on the series type website is I'm not sure how many of you have seen the website, but on the left sidebar, we see many of the pieces of artwork and media posted on there, which really gives the site a sense of vibrancy and color. So what I mean to say is that I appreciate how the series type accepts many different forms of media, not just text, such as articles, but also artwork and audio, film, photography, and more. And as someone who has worked with different publications and newspapers when I was in high school and also in college, I found that the series type is very unique in the sense that it broadens the amount of content that we are able to accept. And just having this variety of the forms of media that we can submit, that definitely can inspire a lot more creativity and encouragement to submit, which is one of the most promising features that I find about the series type. Because not everyone is a great writer. Some people are artists, some people are photographers, some people are filmmakers, and the series type really provides that kind of space where all of this kind of content can be submitted. So the next slide. I want to talk about personally how meaningful this internship has been for me. So since day one, working with Nikki has been very inspiring and also very flexible as well. It was easy for me to really pursue what I wanted to through this internship, and it was also great to work with Nikki to come up with ways on how we can share the series type with more people and also encourage more people to become involved. So these 4 infographics that we see on the slide here, these are all infographics that I've made and published on the Instagram website. And Nikki let me launch this Instagram project called Topics We Should Talk About, which is basically where I can discuss certain important issues such as climate change or the pandemic. And I was able to share some important information about these issues online while also designing it so it's very appealing, visually appealing. So this was just one way that I found that I could talk about the issues that I cared about online. And as we can see in the bottom of each of the infographics, there was also a question where we could have a discussion in the comments. So just being able to discuss these important events and issues through the Instagram and through the series type is why the series type is such a great platform for people my age and also adults as well. So yeah, that wraps up what I wanted to say. Thank you, Nikki, for letting me speak today.
Thank you so much for speaking. That was really, really wonderful. It seems that, anyway, let me just get my bearings here. Okay, so this is a piece that that Serena put together recently, and it really walks you through how to sign up and how to submit, because a lot of people think that this is, can be a difficult process or that it's going to take a long time. And she did an excellent job of putting together a video to show you exactly how you can, or a young person can submit their work. So I'm going to play that for you all now.
Hi everyone, my name is Serena, one of the interns working with the series type this summer. Today, I'm going to be showing you all how easy and how simple it is.
Oops.
Hi everyone, my name is Serena, one of the interns working with the series type this summer. Today, I'm going to be showing you all how easy and how simple it is to submit work through the series type website. So first things first, we are here on the seriestype.org, and the first thing that we do is log in or sign up. So we click on this button up in the top right corner. You can log in with Google or email, and if you currently do not have an account, you have the option to sign up at the bottom here. So for me, I personally have already contributed work to the series type, so I have an account. So I'm going to quickly log in with Google, select my email, and it'll quickly log me onto my own account. And then next, we are going to click on this picture up in the top right. For me, I have a picture of a cat reading a book, and I'm going to select submit an article. And that instantly takes us to this page that is labeled create submission. So for me today, I'm going to be submitting one of my poems. However, you always have the option to submit artwork or media, film, video, or audio. So those are all other options as well. So we can quickly put in some basic information about our submission. So for me, the title of my poem is Time. And I'm going to put in a quick summary that I have for my poem. And next, you also have the option to submit an image. So for me, I currently have an image that I wanted to attach with my article. And you can caption it anything you want. Maybe it'll be the source of the image or just a description of what the image is about. Next, we go to the category. So for me, my poem is about the environment. So I would put it under sustainability and justice. And then we can click on environment and climate. And these are subcategories that may appear depending on what category you choose in the beginning. Next, we also have tags, which makes it easy for certain users to look up your article if they're interested in this kind of information. So for example, I can put in environment as one of my tags, and that'll be attached to my article. So the next step, card one, is where you can put in your information. So I can just copy and paste my poem from Google Docs or Word or anything like that. And it'll take me right here. It'll instantly paste into this text box here. Very simple. And it also keeps the format that I had in my Google Doc. So as we scroll down here, you can put references. Maybe if you're writing a news article, you may choose to reference some of the websites that you visited or databases that you used. Or maybe if you're submitting an audio, giving credit to someone who may have helped you create that piece of work. So that's what the references box is available for. You are also able to put a personal statement, maybe just about yourself to give more context. And finally, there is a checkbox here asking if we have your permission to submit this, to use the submission for marketing purposes on Instagram, Facebook, or other online platforms. So for me personally, I'm okay with this, so I checked it off and save. And congratulations, the submission will be reviewed and published on the website. So we click OK here. And now when we get to this page, this is on our profile, we can view our previous submitted works. So for example, I submitted a poem in June, and now I have another article right here, and the status is currently in review. So whenever it is reviewed and accepted, it will then be published on the website. So as you can see, submitting on the series type is very quick and easy. And especially if you already have some piece of work that is finished and completed, it's very simple to just copy and paste it into here or upload it onto the series type website. Based on this video, you can tell much of it was commentary. So of course, actually submitting it yourself would take a lot less time. And the process is very easy. It's very easy to get your work out there, to share it with other people, and just being able to talk about certain issues that are important to you through the series type website. So I hope this helps. It's very easy to submit an article. I hope all of you maybe set aside 5 to 10 minutes to submit something. And the rewards are The rewards are very valuable. You can see how many views your article has received, and you may be published on some of our online platforms. So I hope all of you take the opportunity and take the time to submit something on the serious type. Thank you.
Thank you, Serena. That was really an amazing video that you put together, and I really think it shows how easy it is to submit work. So I really appreciate that. So now I'm going to take you through a tour of the site, and I'm not going to be speaking through it, but I do have a recording of a young person named Elijah. He's 17 and he lives in Pennsylvania, and he recorded this about the serious type. And while it plays, I will be showing you the site.
Hi, my name's Elijah. I'm a junior in high school, and I'm here to introduce you to a brand new social media platform designed especially for young people between the ages of 13 and 23 who want to make the world a better place, for real. The Series Type is an online portal where we can be taken seriously by people our own age, where we can share whatever we're most passionate about, whether it be in the form of a short story, a poem, a painting, drawing, video, podcast, essay, song, interview, science experiment, building our community service projects, anything that we're proud of in a safe, unjudgmental, and thoughtful space. But there are no likes, no comments, no followers attached to any publication. There's no artificial intelligence either, and the only number of views for each publication is tracked and displayed. The Series Type is a nonprofit, which means that big business is not making any money from our participation. The future of the Series Type is all up to us. They designed the car. Now it's up to us to drive it and take it wherever we want to go. Once a piece of your work is published, you can meet other Series Types like me, opening up your work up for feedback, discussion, connection, and friendship in a more private environment. We can have book clubs, webinars, and summits. In the forums, we can organize our efforts and become active in local, national, and global communities to create a happier, healthier, more sustainable planet for everyone. We don't have time to leave the future up to grown-ups, like what they've handed down to us already. Here's a genuine opportunity for us to create the future ourselves, to have it work the way we think and know it should. The Series Type may look like a newspaper, but it's a lot more than that. As long as you follow the PAC guidelines, that is, your work is polished, appropriate, and constructive, you'll be published. You can view and share all your work in one place too, like a virtual portfolio, all for free. Signing up is super easy and quick. So is submitting your work. Here, let me show you. If you have any questions or issues, fill out the feedback form here. I look forward to seeing you and your work on the Series Type and connecting with you in the forums. Let's go.
So that's basically a quick overview of the site and how you can navigate it.
Hi, my name's...
So I just wanted to get into the kind of what we've learned during this whole process and the kind of feedback that we've been getting. So when I share what the Serious Type is about, whether it's in a 10-minute conversation or it's a 2-hour conversation over Zoom or over coffee, this is the basic feedback that I've gotten, that, wow, this is beautiful. So most people look at the site and are really taken by it. They say, we need something like this, the kids need it. And, you know, but what's their incentive? What's their incentive to post work? How about the privacy issues? They say they love the portfolio piece, so that when you click on a person's name, as I showed you, that you can put all of their work in one space. And they say we could really use that in our classroom or in our school to share it with parents. My kid isn't the serious type, some people say, but they also say, you know, who would love this, or they know people who would, or young people who would like this. They really like that it's a safe space, that there's no judgment, there's no bullying or negativity, and they really like the content. So the people who have looked through the site and read the articles really do enjoy the content. And then they say, well, we hope it works, good luck. And that's the basic feedback that I've gotten from hundreds of conversations that I've had with people over the past year. The tool really has only been made available at the end of spring, and only recently have we launched it on the non-beta site. So there really hasn't been that much time for people to take a look at it, but this is still the same feedback that we tend to get. So I'm going to go through this presentation, look at the review of the timeline that we talked about last year, look at some metrics and accomplishments, share some feedback that we've gotten from youth, and kind of the messaging, the benefits that you can share with educators, students, and society about the serious type, and talk a little bit about the upcoming social media word of mouth campaign that I've developed. We're going to have a couple of speakers. It seems like the technology you might be having some issues with that, with the link. So I know we have for sure one speaker. Dr. Doucette is here to speak with us. And she's also an advisor. And then there's a discussion, question or response at the end. And hopefully we'll be done by 10 a.m. or 10 a.m. my time, which is 9 a.m. on the West Coast, and then at noon on the East Coast. So this was the original timeline and goals for the series type when we met exactly a year ago on August 18th, 2020. And if you look through all the different goals that we had, we've really met almost all of them. We haven't hired anybody. Everything's been fully volunteer work, and Serena's put in a lot of sweat equity, and I really appreciate all her hard work, but that was an unpaid internship. I've never taken any money from the serious type, so we have not gotten to that space yet, and we haven't sold any advertising space as well. So we haven't received revenue in that way. We've really been focusing on building the tool, working with the web developers, getting the word out there, and also really grateful for many private donations that we've gotten to keep the site going. We have launched, we've written grants, we've applied for grants, and haven't received any yet, but there's still some that are out there. And the last piece here that we haven't done is developed an e-commerce and a reward program. We haven't done that because that's really kind of stage 2, and we're really just in the very beginning stages. And so we would need to raise a lot more money to do that. But I also feel like there's enough in the site right now as it is to get that out there and for people to want to sign up and to use it before we kind of move on to more bells and whistles. This is really the foundation of the site, which we have to make sure that people know about first before we add other components. So the major accomplishments to me is that we've completed this beta testing trial, and now we're in this first proprietary version of the site, which means that we this is all from scratch. This is not WordPress. This is not something that somebody could easily replicate. It really took a lot of time and effort, and we're still working with the developers in India. Every Monday, we have a set meeting, and then are communicating throughout the week. So we still have that relationship in place. We've published over 70 high quality pieces of work by people ages 13 to 23 from 5 countries so far. The leading countries are US and India, but we also have work from Argentina, England, and Canada. We've talked with over 300 people, whether they be youth or adults, in all different kinds of fields, and we've gotten feedback, advice, inspiration, insight, support, and it's really helped to shape how we're going to move forward. And we've raised about $80,000, which is really incredible, to cover the legal, web development, and operational costs. Really nothing for personnel, really. The web developers, obviously that's a big cost, the upfront legal costs, and then just some software that we need to keep it going, and insurance as well. But that's basically what we've used the money for. And moving forward, as you'll see on the next slide, is basically costs us $1,800 per month just to keep the technology going. So here's some feedback from the series types, which I've published before, but just a good reminder that kids are really inspired by this, and really it's a good feeling for them, even though at this point, we don't have a reward program. They don't get any money, they don't get any prizes. The whole prize is just being out there and putting their work there and having it published. And so far that is enough for some kids. Of course, we would love to build in more incentives, but it's enough to get the ball rolling. Here are some metrics. So right now we have about 57 users / people who have signed on. We have 73 stories. We have 309 newsletter contacts, and every single one of those contacts I've had a personal conversation with and asked them if I could add their contact. So this is not like a copy and paste list. This is not a list that I borrowed from anybody. This is one conversation at a time over a year. About 50% of our newsletters are open and hopefully read by the people who open them, which is a really high rate, which means that people are interested in what we're doing and want to learn more about it. It's really interesting that the people who have submitted work, about 33% of them have submitted more than one piece of work, which is really exciting because it shows that they see value over time, because there have been months in between some of these submissions, and young people are still really interested in sharing their work. And also I have been in touch with them. So I'm building a community of young people who value this and want to show people that it's important, that it's out there. We're averaging about 2 to 3 submissions per week. I would love for that to be more. The original goal was about 5 per week, but we're at 2 to 3 at this point. And it costs, based on $18 per month, it varies, but it's about $25 per month just to host a story. And those numbers can be decreased the more stories that we have. But I wanted to kind of put a really tangible metric there so people could see exactly where their money is going. And so you could say essentially that for $25 a month, you can support someone's story being up there. And hopefully those costs can go down, or they can, go up if we want to invest more in each person. If you kind of think about that number as the amount of money that we're investing per child, we can look at it both ways. People who or what is the serious type? I just wanted to define that here. It's someone who takes life seriously, takes the future seriously, wants the world to be a better place, tries to make the world a better place, loves to learn, is kind, compassionate, empathic, and curious, between the ages of 13 to 23. So that's really broad, because a lot of people say, I don't know anybody who's the serious type. My kid isn't the serious type. And it doesn't mean that every single moment of the day they're serious. They can have a lot of fun. They can be funny. They can be, joyful. But it really means that they take life seriously overall, and they want to express that part and that side of them from time to time. And when it's not met, they really feel like they're at a loss. So here's some more submission metrics. So the most popular headings are arts, culture, and music, which I guess you could guess. And then sustainability and justice is right up there as well. And then community and local, which includes, education and science and health. Those are the third leading headings. The distribution is heavily text, but also photo and images. Right now we have video 6% and audio 4%. But I think it's really important that we make that accessible for people who might not want to write, but still want to express themselves. And the cool thing about the serious type is that you can have multiple formats in one story. The users and sign-ons who have published work, 72%. So basically when you sign on, a lot of them continue to submit their work, and everything that's been submitted so far has been published. The quality of work has been really high. And there's only a couple times where I've had to go back to the submitter and say, can you fix this? Can you edit this minor thing so that we can publish it? A lot of times I'll make, minor changes, grammatical or spelling changes here and there, but there have been some cases where I needed a reference, or it was on a PDF that I couldn't change a word and how it was spelled. And in that case, they corrected the work and gave it back to me. But so far, we're getting really, really great submissions. So these are the questions. How do we build an authentic audience? And these are the different pieces that we've identified through board meetings and through different conversations that I've had with people, including with Serena, really helped me to think about these things. So the word of mouth community outreach using local ambassadors is really a great strategy, I feel, to building the serious type. So it's a combination of offline and online. This is not something that's just for online only. The whole idea is to leverage the technology and use the technology for good so that we can kind of couple what we're doing offline and online. And so the online resource is a place to record and reflect and to connect with other people, but it's not a place to become addicted. It's just a place that people can find each other there and they can share their work and then be inspired to be active off the computer. Social media outreach, Instagram is really a great tool for us to get the word out there. Newsletters for both the general audience, and there's also one that I'm sending out for the serious types only. Search engine optimization, which the web development team has put together and started to work on that using keywords and key phrases so that people can find the serious type, even if they're not specifically looking for it. But if you Google the serious type, it should come up as #1, and that's really exciting. Schools and after school programs. So I've been working heavily on that, connecting with specific teachers, technology directors who can share this, basically this online software with people in their schools, with teachers. So in that way, it's really seen much more as a tool than maybe something that is more emotional or something that's more psychological. It's really just, here's a tool that teachers can use. And when it comes from the technology director, it can be seen in a more neutral way, but also college counselors, because kids are always looking for ways to boost their resumes to get into college. And this is really a great way for young people to share their work, especially as SATs and ACTs and these numbers won't be required. And it's such a limited application. What else can young people show to college to differentiate themselves and show them who they really are? So we've identified this portfolio aspect as a really strong tool for young people to use. And it's also an incentive for them. So also school and youth-driven newspapers, connecting with the editors and getting work from them is another great way to build an authentic audience. And then youth focus groups, which we're going to start working on in October. We're going to put together a local one that'll also be shared on Zoom, and getting feedback from young people to ask them what's working, what's not working, what would they like to see, etc. So the key here is all about the messaging, the marketing, the image, the positioning, like the outreach. How do we really get kids to use this tool, young people to really use this tool, and also older people to look at it as a source of information and media. This is really critical, and this is where a lot of attention needs to be paid before it takes on a life of its own. So here's just some ideas that the serious type is a tool that people can use, and then being serious is cool. And we've heard that phrase when we were younger about, oh, he's such a tool, she's such a tool. And I think there's a way that we could combine those two ideas that really to share and promote the idea that being serious and caring about your life and caring about the world and the people around you is actually a really cool thing. And it's not something that needs to be put down or made fun of. Lots of kids in schools can make fun of the kids who are serious students. And, I would love to help to shift that idea. So, that lends itself to the following questions. How can we best use the tools of force for good in the social media space? How can we serve youth using this? How can we rebuild trust in communities? It seems to me, based on so many things that are going on in the world today, especially COVID, that we've lost a lot of trust in our communities and also in the organizations and our political structures. There's a lot of things that people are not so sure who's telling the truth, who's not. And I feel like that's at the heart of what's going on with the vaccination too. It's who can we trust? And I think that we need to rebuild that in our society in order for us to function optimally and kind of get on a good track. And how can the serious type be a reliable, nonpartisan news source about the important issues going on in communities that can be reported by youth? So youth can share exactly what's going on. So we have a story from Argentina from a former student of mine who lives in Argentina, and she was reporting about, she lives in a ski resort town, and this year there's no skiing at all. There can't, her boyfriend is a racer and he can't practice in their town. He has to go somewhere else because of the drought and there's no snow. So that's really huge news. Do we hear about that? No, but that's a way that a young person can share what's going on, and they have no real motivation or to share except to let other people know what's going on, because there's no big business involved. There's no other how do I say, there's no other reason for them to want to share that except that it's affecting their lives personally. So in that way, it's a much more kind of pure news source. So what are the benefits for educators? So these are the pieces, these next 3 slides, about how you can share the serious type and what it's about with other people. It's a searchable and linked portfolio of students' work, like I was talking about before. You can share students' work easily with others. You can share successful projects with other educators and highly self-motivated homeschool students. A lot of times as a teacher, I've seen lots of projects that are published. There's a site called Teachers for Teachers that you pay for, and you can get ideas for projects and prompts, but you rarely see the actual project and the result that comes out of kind of the instructions. Now, this is a way for other teachers to look at what kids are doing and for kids to look at what other kids are doing and be inspired by that and generate new ideas. When we see things and put them together, we get new ideas about what we can do and how we can make ours a little bit different. You can potentially be an editor for the serious type. So on the back end, there's the CMS, the customer management system. And that's what I work on whenever the work comes in. That's where I look at it and I can publish it. There's statistics back there, and it's built so that you can add other editors. So it'd be great to have teachers and other educators be signed on as editors. And that will give them a lot more control over when work is published, how it's published, and how it's edited. This really promotes purpose-driven education. So this is a catchphrase that I'm really passionate about and feel this is how education needs to move forward, is that kids need to know that what they're learning and why they're learning, there's a purpose behind it that can be applied in real time and not in years to come. I think young people realize that we have a limited amount of time to make these shifts, and there's the technology out there for them to actually make a difference. And so I think education, we can best serve kids and young people by having their education be purpose-driven. For educators, the work is curated and edited. There's a high level of privacy. A lot of people are concerned about the privacy, but only a first name, and it can also be a pseudonym, is the only thing needed, and an email address to be published. And we only publish the name, but we also ask for the birthday so we can publish the age only, and the state or region and the country. So there's really a high level of privacy. There are no likes, no followers, no comments, only the number of views displayed. And I've seen that the most views that we have is about 850. And that is really because the person who wrote it, Coralie, she wrote that story and really shared it and used it as a way to share her story. It validates student work and effort. It's really amazing to see your work up there and to get used to the idea of being published. And so the series type can be used for that. And it encourages and substantiates student motivation and confidence, and it's free. And it, so that's also a benefit. It's always nice when things are free. What are the benefits to students? Kind of all the same things as educators in many ways, but there's no artificial intelligence, so they can control their own search, interest, and passions. There's nothing, we have suggestions, as you can see on the right, that says more to discover, but the computer is not telling them what to think, and also kind of confirming their thoughts. So there's an opportunity there for them to have new ideas or to read something they might not necessarily have read before. But they can also, go through the different categories and find what's interesting to them. It showcases their work at no risk. Again, they can be anonymous and there's no judgment. They can share it with their friends and family. The link that's associated with each author just has an author name, a number. So it says like author 50, and they can take that link and share it with friends and family, or even colleges, college counselors, and then all their work from the serious type is in that portfolio. They can connect with others based on common interests and personal goals. There's an opportunity to influence future growth of the organization, their community. So I really, like Elijah said in that recording, built this so it could be, we create the car, but they really have to be the drivers. And, this is a tool where it's driven by the work and who someone authentically is, and not necessarily what they look like. You can share a selfie or photo of yourself, but that is not at the core of the site. At the core of the site is the work itself. The site respects intelligence and capability, and it has positive intention. So this was started in a very with a good intention about building community and kindness and empathy and critical thinking, and to activate young people to mobilize themselves to make a better world. That is the intention. And there is, other social media platforms that don't have a positive intention. And I feel like whatever your intention is when you start an organization, that is what permeates. And it's really hard to let go of that original intention. So I'm really proud that we've all put this together and started from a really good place. And so I feel like that it's endless where it could go. I mean, it's limitless where it could go when you have such a good intention. It's a hub for those who are already making a difference, and then a hub to inspire people who want to make a difference. And this is something where young people can be at the ground floor, something that's brand new and really exciting, and that can really motivate them to share. And then they can say, and since the author is by number, if they have a lower number in the future, if you think about this really growing, that's something that they can really feel proud of, and it can be really exciting. I mean, I have no idea what number Facebook user I am. I don't know if I could even find out, but it would kind of be fun to know, how early on were you an early adapter or not? And again, the addition to the resume for college applications, this seems to be a great motivator for students who want to go to college and want to differentiate themselves, and they can list it as they can do an internship, and this might help them for their job resumes as well. Benefits to society. Talked a lot about this, but allows adults to see what young people care and think most about when they're being serious about their lives and future, increases knowledge sharing among educators and students, increases overall creativity and agency among young people, and it can help support and initiate productive and profound intergenerational conversations, especially between children and parents and their guardians, because I find that especially teenagers, it can be really difficult to have conversations with them. And so this can be a tool where parents can sit down with young people and go through the site together and maybe find what their child is interested in, or discuss different things and have a space to begin, a launching pad to have these conversations. And it provides a next generation of social media users with an enlightened version of Facebook. Right now, Facebook has so many great things about it, but we also know there are a lot of negative things about it. And yet so many people still use it, even knowing about all the negative, harmful aspects of it. And that's because there are really some really important, great things about Facebook. Keeping in touch with people that keeping those connections going, sharing things, learning things. And so we kind of try to dismiss all the negativity and manipulation as much as we can, but that's a real thing. So why not provide something for young people who are not on Facebook, don't want to use Facebook, but still would want the same things that we use Facebook for. So kind of taking the best and getting rid of the worst. It values human intelligence and survival over artificial intelligence. There's always going to be human beings and human eyes and brains at the back end of this. And it potentially provides economic opportunities for those with backgrounds in language, education, psychology, and the arts. So as this grows, I really see this as an organization that can employ people in those fields in a different way. And because of the editing part of it, because of the ambassador role, there are different ways that people who are already passionate about working with young people and the arts and creative endeavors could be employed, which right now, that can be somewhat of a challenge. Or even if they're employed as teachers, there's a lot of job dissatisfaction going on with educators these days because it's such a difficult space to be working in. This is a campaign that I'm going to launch soon about spreading the word about the serious type, and it's based on the social dilemma, and it has, which said that Facebook shared what Facebook was doing with 7 people over a period of 10 days. And so that's how they spread the word, by asking people to share Facebook with 7 people in 10 days. So I said, why not take the same idea to spread the word about the serious type? And it also encourages real conversation, authentic conversation among people. And I just kind of suggested who those 7 people could be. 2 serious-minded youth, ages 13 to 23, 2 teachers, professors, librarians, a therapist, counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist, coach, 1 coworker or friend, and one grandparent or godparent. I think everybody knows those kind of people in that amount and in that, so that if people really were dedicated to sharing the word about the serious type and really passionate about it and had a finite amount of time, 10 days, where they shared this, I really feel like we could spread the word about the serious type in a significant amount of time and really get the ball rolling. And regardless, I think it's just a great conversation to have with people, especially these days, and who knows where that conversation goes. So this is just a poster that's about if someone, what we're looking for, and then if they need inspiration to write something, we put it, a prompt down there at the bottom. So those two flyers, I think, really could help spread the word. And right now I'm going to pass it on to, I don't know about Gina, because I think they had trouble signing on from Marble, but Gina, who's the head of school, Marble Charter School, where I worked and where I'm going to be teaching math again this year. She's also a board member, and she was going to speak to purpose-driven education. And but luckily, Dr. Wendy Doucette is on, and I want her to share her perspective from a social worker therapist perspective, and how she feels like this can benefit young people. So I know we're kind of running out of time, so I'm going to pass it on to you. And here's just some questions just to prompt you if you want to use them. So thank you so much for being here, Wendy. I really appreciate it, and take it away.
I always forget to unmute myself. Hi, Nikki. Hi, everybody. I am mindful of time too, and I feel like I could talk for hours about the serious type, but I won't, because we don't have that much time. I want to just thank you, Nikki, for all of your blood, sweat, and tears that you continue to pour into this passion project. And I was like scribbling notes feverishly while I was listening to you talk, because there's just so much here. And I am on like day 3 of getting my kids back to school. So I know that you want my professional opinion, but I just wanted to start by sharing that if I don't start crying, telling you that my 13-year-old just didn't want to go to school on Monday. And I think that everything that you are focusing this on, and all of the people who've put effort into the serious type, is what's kind of lacking, and not just because of COVID, but certainly exacerbated by this last year and a half, where I do work with adolescents in my practice, but I'm just thinking so much about my children, who it's kind of like that spark of passion and excitement and curiosity. It just kind of diminished over this last year and a half. And I think that a big piece of it is not having the social connection, not being excited about learning, and not being necessarily driven to be doing things on their own without a structure. So, it sounds kind of cheesy, but the children are our future. So, when Nikki mentioned this to me, I jumped on board because I've known Nikki forever, and she's amazing and wonderful, and I would probably join anything she wanted to do. But as soon as she talked about the passion, the purpose, I wrote down, purpose-driven education, and something that promotes that in a way that kids can feel safe, kids can feel heard, kids can feel seen. And when I say kids, we all want to be seen and heard, right? And at this, these precious ages between 13 and 23, as their brains are developing and continuing to develop, it is, as we've seen in this last year and a half, without something to connect to, can be really isolating. And so if I put my therapist hat on, that can really contribute significantly to isolation, depression, anxiety, feelings of overwhelm. And unfortunately, that can spiral into much darker places of suicide and addiction. And so I see this serious type as an incredibly valuable tool, so beneficial, so important. And I want to be able to be a part of motivating youth to find out about this and to be connected. I think that I'm just looking at my little chicken scratch, being able to rebuild trust in communities. It's not just building trust in communities, it's rebuilding trust and giving kids, our youth, a place to do that, a place where they can be seen, be heard, share genuinely anything, really, their thoughts and feelings, but their art, their writing, their music, their poetry. And I think that that's how we begin to do that in a place that you don't have to be worrying about likes and dislikes or how many people even viewed it, but to feel like there's this format, there's this safe space for them to be able to not only express themselves, but also feel connected to other people. So, what I was originally drawn to, as I said, was Nikki and this idea, but also from being a mom and being a therapist and seeing how kids are completely absorbed in their phones and not as excited about things because maybe, like, again, I will speak just from my kids, reading a book doesn't give them that same dopamine hit that playing a video game does, or even being on Discord or social media. And one of the aspects, there's so many things about the serious type that I really love, but I think that one of the pieces that is so important are the forums where kids can connect with like-minded kids. They can be inspired. And I love that it also opens up their world to other countries, other cultures, other races, other people that they would not necessarily meet maybe in their town or city or school. And I think it really, especially in this day and age where in this last year and a half, we felt so stuck and so limited with what we can do, that as we know, the internet and social media can really expand our world. But the serious type offers a way to do that, I think, in a much more positive, enlightened way, even with the guidelines about having things be purposeful, be clear, and taking out the judgment piece, and teaching kids about how you can even go about something that you're excited about, something I've been talking to my kids about, like, I just want you to be happy and I want you to find that thing that lights you up. And they're kind of like, it may not happen in 7th grade or 8th grade or even in high school, but I think that the serious type creates a format where they might discover that they like to write poetry or play music or make music in a way that they would not have thought about doing that before. So I just also wrote down, like, tool as a force for good in a social media space, that there is this meaning, the connection to other people, but also meaning and value and purpose in what you're thinking about and what you're expressing, and kind of being able to get that back from an unlimited source of people. So I feel like I'm just kind of rambling. So if you want to, like, ask me a question, or if anything I said doesn't make sense, Nikki, I just want to kind of check in with you, because I know it's also nearing the end of our time, and I hope I'm not sounding like a rambling.
No, you're not at all, not at all. No, fantastic. I really appreciate your sharing those words, and also being so personal about it too, because those are hard things to share, and I think the whole idea of being vulnerable is another piece of the serious type, really putting yourself out there, right? And that's what connects people to one another and makes them bond with one another, is when you really put yourself out there. And that's what I hope that this space is. And that's how you form those friendships. And then when you are really connected at a deep level, I think people feel that they want to do something with that connection. And I believe that's when the best things happen, is when people are connected naturally just because of who they are and what they're passionate about. And then the next level is, well, let's do something really cool and great together. right? And so that's really what I'm trying to foster in my own life and through the series type, and to inspire other people to do that as well. So I really appreciate your input, and it's really valuable, especially because of all your experience. And we've known each other since 4th grade. And so, it's kind of like, you imagine if we had something like this, that would have been really cool. I still have a poster that we worked on together in a class for Jonathan Livingston Seagull. I still have the painting that I did with you, and that was some of my best memories with you. And we were doing something serious. We were reading that book together, and we did a presentation in class, and we did a painting about it. And those were some really deep, ideas, especially for, I think we were in 6th grade at that point. I don't know, but it's, and I think that that's just really interesting that now we're doing this. And I remember doing like this time capsule with you that we buried in Central Park, and those are the things that I remember. Do you remember doing that? I remember doing
and as I'm listening to you, what comes up for me too is what I share with clients a lot, which is that it's the experiences that we have with people, right? That's what we take with us. That's what we carry with us. And even though you're in Colorado, I'm in Los Angeles, there's been many years where we were not in touch. We always have those experiences. And I think that, almost to bring it full circle, that this is something that the serious type engenders, is more of those serious, meaningful, purposeful experiences that children can have, that maybe in 30, 40 years, they'll be talking about, remember when we did this thing and we published a story, or we had this forum and we were all powwowing. So I just think it's such a beautiful gift that you have created and that you're sharing, and that I really hope that we can get the word out more, so that more people can really get the intricacies of what it is. And I love the way that you presented this, because there is so much more to, like, is your kid serious or not? Like, it's so much more than that. And that some of these kids don't even know who they are. So I think that something like this can really help with a sense of identity and meaning, and maybe surprising themselves that they are creative where they don't necessarily think they are, and that they can also make a difference in the world, which is so important, because I think a lot of these kids, and again, my 13-year-old, like, what is there to learn? Like, school's stupid, it's boring, like, there's much more to it than that. And so to have something like this as a resource, and I'm glad that we're having this call today and we're talking about it today, because it also then reminds me and gets me more excited about how I can share this, and how I can even just start with my kids and sit with them and look through it and have a conversation and have an experience with them that may be life-changing. Who knows?
Right. Well,
maybe.
Right. Well, we have to at least try, right? Like, I feel like during this really difficult year or two, it just, for me, I needed to create something that gave me hope, that I felt like could maybe address some of the issues. Obviously, it's huge what we're all facing together. But for me to keep my sanity, I need to create, right? I need to do something that I feel like is adding, or in some positive way. And so that's what this is about. And I hope that kind of intention just has a ripple effect. That's my great hope. And so I think there was an issue with people signing on today through Zoom. I don't, but this is all being recorded. And so my hope is that we can share this video also. And then the other video that I had about the submission, I can make that available as well. That really quick 5-minute one that Serena did, that was awesome, just to show people how easy it is to log in and submit. I think that's really helpful. And we might add that right to the site itself. So when people go to the site, right, they can.
I was just going to suggest that. I think it's very user friendly. The site is beautiful, but as simple as you can make it. So I've had that experience with other like webinars I've been on or something, and it's like just a quick, like, little, in video that shows you how simple it is, because most of these kids can probably navigate the site without it, but it just makes it that much more simple and easy and welcoming to share your work.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think Serena did a great job. So thank you so much.
So
yeah, I'm so grateful that you're on the call, Serena, because I think that what you had to add to really show people, because you're right in that middle, you're 18, almost 19 next week. And there's between 13 and 23, you're kind of in that sweet spot. So it really means a lot that you participated in this and that you shared your experience. So just quickly, this is just a question I had for discussion, and I think we've gone over, but I'll just put it out there, and maybe we have another time that we come together and talk about this. But what came up recently is that this is a piece of software, right? So is this something that we could use to turn into a business to sell this software to different schools? So should we consider the series type as a piece of software that private institutions use to disseminate information, share knowledge, create more interdisciplinary project-based learning, where the platform itself is a for-profit entity? So for instance, a school, or it could just be a nonprofit and we can make money that way. It's a way to earn revenue for the nonprofit, but you could sell it as an intranet almost to a school if they're worried about privacy, but it's still a way for them to share projects and work that doesn't really exist right now. People have different tools that they're using, but I just, I think that the way this is set up as a newspaper, it's really easy to navigate so that you could pick what you wanted to see, but then you could also go into somebody's classroom and see all the work that they've produced or all the work that they've done for this specific project. So there are different ways that we can use it and we can think about it. So the question is, should we keep it public so that in the end it is a public domain, or you can do both at the same time? Maybe the public version of the series type is the best of the best. You can have a private one for your institution, your school, and then the administrator there can share pieces of that with the public series type. And it would be easy enough to share as software, to sell as software, because about 85 to 90% of it is just replicable. And then you would just customize it, maybe the look of it, change the logo, some things here and there, but it would pretty simple to do. So just putting that out there as something that we can discuss. And I don't know if anybody wants to add to that conversation now. Again, it's a little bit over 10 and I only wanted this to be an hour, but if people want to stay around and talk about it, I'm happy to stay online and talk about that. So just, and anyway, we can have another conversation about that, but I wanted to put that out there. And let's see. So that's really the end of the presentation. And again, I'm sorry that link didn't work for a lot of people. It said another presentation was going on at the same time, so they weren't able to log on. But we have this presentation recorded, which is awesome. And I'm going to put this in the YouTube format so people can share. And it'll be part of our marketing package. So the fact that you guys were here and you showed up and it worked for you, which is awesome, really created this piece of marketing that I think is going to be extremely valuable. So thank you all for being here. And if anybody wants to say anything or add anything at this point, please speak up.
I have to jump off, Nikki, but I just wanted to thank you for all of your hard work. And I think, I'll look forward to the next call, and I'm happy to support you and spread the word and just, continue to be connected and on this path with you. So thank you for everything. And I'll look forward to the next call.
Okay, well, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Serena and Lee and Eric and Kasari. You've all played really instrumental, important parts in the Serious Type, and I'm just super grateful for you. I hope you all have a beautiful day and help to make the world a better day like you do all the time. Take care.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Nikki.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Nikki.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.